Huh?
I don't know how to play this one.
Yeah. Some people say there is no way salvation is real, and there's nothing in this old-time religion that you really can feel. How can it be that I can't believe in a God I've not seen? There's no such thing as life after death. Heaven's a dream. If I'm dreaming, don't wake me. Just let me dream on. For this is the best way of living that I've ever known. Oh, I'm having a good time, so just leave me alone. Sweet peace I have found, so don't wake me now. Just let me dream on. I cannot explain this wonderful change that came over me. Once I was bound by the chains of sin, but now I'm set free. You might say God is dead and I'm out of my head, but there's one thing I'm sure. If this is a sign that I'm losing my mind, hope I'll never be cured. If I'm dreaming, don't wake me. Just let me dream on. For this is the best way of living that I've ever known. Oh, I'm having a good time, so just leave me alone. Sweet peace I have found, don't wake me now. Just let me dream on. Sweet peace I have found, so don't wake me now. Just let me dream on.
A woman in the Bible days, her last meal almost gone. But God sent Elijah to make his word known. He said, woman, don't you worry, for God sent me today. And before you even asked him, help was on the way. Just hold on a little longer, help is on the way. A brighter day is coming for those who believe and pray. Help won't help tomorrow if you give up today. Just hold on a little longer, help is on the way. Troubles of this life come by, burdens get you down. You think no one is listening, you think no one's around. Just remember what his word says, trust him and obey. Keep your eyes toward the heaven, help is on the way. Just hold on a little longer, help is on the way. A brighter day is coming for those who believe and pray. Help won't help tomorrow if if you give up today. Just hold on a little longer. Help is on the way. Help won't help tomorrow if you give up today. Just hold on a little longer. Help is on the way. Amen. Good job.
Night. Well, good. Now, I'm excited about tonight. First of all, Barbara, can you hear me? Okay. I didn't want to have to chip in on your hearing aid, so I want to make sure. The book of Job. There's some heavenly truths in here that sometimes we may glance over. Now, the book of Job is the oldest book in the Old Testament. Even though Genesis is the beginning of time, it was written by Moses during the Exodus. Most people believe that it was written somewhere between the time of Abraham and the time of Esau and Jacob. So, verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, one that feared God and eschewed evil. Now, when they said he was perfect and upright, it doesn't mean he was sinless. But to the looks of other people around him, he was perfect. He had much substance. He had children. He was kind. He was moral. He feared God. He had good character. He was sincere about his relationship with the Lord. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. Back in those days, the more children you had, the more they would say, the Lord has blessed you. And he had. He had many children. And his substance, his wealth, also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen. Now here's something a lot of people miss. Oxen, yoke, put those together, that means there were fields that need to be plowed. So he had to have hundreds of servants that he had to take care of, that he had to worry about, that he had to hire. Along with that, there had to be hundreds of maidservants to go around them in order for them to be fed, etc. So he was responsible for a great deal of people. And 500 she-asses, and a very great household. So that this man was the greatest of all men of the East. And from what I've been able to find out, it's probably Eastern Arabia, around in those areas. So this is a description of him from man. Not a description from God, a description from man. Now, in the next verse, and his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. Surely, Job was happy with his children. They were so kind. The brothers invited their sisters to come feast with them. A time of joy, a time of merriment, a festival, so to speak. So obviously they were well off as well. And I'm sure he was happy with it, and I'm sure he would have gone with them. But Job had other things to take care of. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus did Job continually. Now he was worried about his children. He was worried that during these times of feasting, these happy, jovial times, that they would let their guard down. That they may, like the last time I talked about hidden sins that we don't realize we do by offending, that during these times of happy and enjoyment, they may offend God without realizing it, or actually offend God and realize it. So he was worried about it. So what he did is every morning after they had a feast, he brought them to sanctify them and to worship the Lord, offer sacrifices. And this is before the law of Moses, before the ceremonial sacrifices they had on the altars. He was already sacrificing. And if you notice, it said that he rose early in the morning. That was the first thing on his mind, his children. I worry about them. I need to talk to the Lord about them. I don't want anything to happen to them. So this was a caring father who loved his family. And if you go into other chapters farther on in Job, about how he was father to orphans, he was the eyes to the blind, he was the legs to the lame, he helped everybody. And I believe that's because of his fear of the Lord. It says in Proverbs that the fear of the Lord is the key to wisdom. Well, the key to wisdom is the fear of the Lord. So, a reverent fear of our Father, not wanting to displease Him, sin against Him, is what we should be worried about most of our day. Now, here's where we get some good stuff. Satan's request. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. So let me set this up. There's God sitting on his heavenly throne. And angels are presenting themselves to him. They may be coming back from tasks that the Lord told them to do and given the results. They may be asking for, what do you want me to do today, Lord, for your glory? And there's Satan. Well, as we all know, Satan also at one time was an angelic being. God created him. So there's that scene up there in heaven. And Satan is coming up. But why? And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Well, God knew why he came. God knows everything. But he wanted to put Satan on the spot. He wanted Satan to tell him, why are you here? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Now, there's a key point here. God knows all. God sees all. Satan doesn't. Satan is mobile. He has to go. He doesn't know what's in every man's heart. He doesn't know everything you do. So he is not on the level of God. Many people think that it's God versus Satan. I have a tendency to disagree. Satan's got no chance against God. None whatsoever. God made him. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job? I hate to say it, but I think God was doing a little bragging. I think he was saying, look at this man right here. And there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil. Now, what this says is that God watches us. God knows what we do. God knows what's in our hearts. God knows if we're sincere or not. Big difference between him and Satan. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Now, Satan is called the accuser in many Hebrew definitions. And right here, he's challenging the Lord. He's accusing the Lord. What he's saying is, I don't believe you. Remember in Eden, when the serpent came up to Eve and said, did God really say that? This is basically the same technique that Satan uses. He tries to twist God's words. He tries to have us have doubt as to what God says. But luckily for us, well, not luckily, blessingly we have for us, is the Scripture. And we know what God says. His testimonies are in there. And then Satan continues, hast thou not made a hedge about him? Well, how does Satan know this? Because he's been watching Job. He can't get to him, but he's watching him. Because God blessed Job. God is protecting Job. And about his house, and about all that he hath on every side, thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. Right there, he's making accusations against Job and God by saying basically, Job has been bribed. You gave him all this stuff. You won't let me get to him. So, of course he's going to be a good servant to you. He's not going to deny you. He's not going to curse you. He's not going to do anything. You're giving him everything. He's a spoiled brat. And Satan continues, but put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. Now, Satan wants God to go against his own nature by punishing Job for no reason. Because Satan, let's face it, he's jealous of man. God loved man so much, he created this whole entire world for us. And he put man in charge of the world and over everything. He gave man authority over the animals, over nature. And Satan didn't like that. Satan wants to be worshipped. Satan wants authority. He doesn't want us to worship God. And the Lord said unto, this is good right here. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. Now, Satan had power to afflict Job, but he lacked God's allowance to do it. Satan is now able to attack Job in a much greater way than before. But it's not unlimited. Think about that. Satan is limited in what he can do to us. He can't do anything he wants. He can only do what God will allow. And so many people, like I said before, think it's Satan versus God. It's not. It's far from it. If I was to put an equivalency to the level of Satan, I'd say Michael, as far as an angel. They are probably on the same level. Now here we come, what he does to Job. And there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabeans fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Well, what does that tell you right now? Is that Satan can move man and armies to harm people. He has that ability. He's a trickster. He's a liar. He's a deceiver. He'll do whatever he can to cause turmoil, grief, affliction, but he has that type of power. And here's where it gets special. And while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven and hath burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So he's talking right here to one, and while he was speaking, another one comes. And we'll see this continue. So we also see here where Satan wants to be like God. He likes to imitate God in so many different ways. And here he's imitating God, sending fire down from heaven. Now that might have been lightning, I don't know. But I'm going to say fire because that's what the word says. And of course it fooled the people there. They were under the illusion that came from God. So something bad must have happened. And while he was yet speaking, there came another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Once again, he moves the hearts and minds of men to do his evil bidding. And we see that all the time, especially nowadays. You see these people on clips from the news that are absolutely bat crazy. I mean, just absolutely crazy. And you see some that they're even worse than that, and you would think, you're almost tempted to say they were possessed by something. Wanting to defend the most abominable things, like abortion. They will give their lives for abortion. So you can see where Satan can move people's hearts and their minds and twist their minds. And always does it by doubting God's word. And again, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house. And it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Once again, Satan does have control over things of nature. Limited, but he does. Because he caused this to happen. So here's Job. He's talking to the first one. Gets tapped on the shoulder. Immediately turns around. Another disaster and tragedy. Another tap on the shoulder. Another one. Another tap on the shoulder. And all of his children have been killed. Well, there's a reason why Satan did this. When we have tragedies in our lives, a loss, first thing we do is we go to the Lord. Why do we go? To get comfort, to get strength, maybe to help us understand it a little better, to worship Him. Many reasons. But Satan knew that man, especially Job, if he was hit one after another, after another, after another, he wouldn't have time to seek the Lord and get comfort. And when those things happen in succession, one after the other, well, we have a tendency to have harsh words. I've seen it. People, they'll get a flat tire on the way to work. Then they'll forget their ID. And they forgot money for lunch. And by the end of that, these people are angry, mad, curse. And that's what Satan was doing. He was trying to get Job to get as upset as he could by taking everything one after another, after another, after another. Because he knew that if Job didn't have the time or opportunity to speak to the Lord, he may get Job to make a mistake. But what did Job do? Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. And I'm sure the first thing he thought about was his children. And if you remember in verse 5, I bet this is what he was concerned about. Because it was so when the days of their feasting were gone about that Job sent and sanctified him and rose early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. He didn't get a chance to do this. They were already dead. And I'm sure that grieved him more than anything else. And then he said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. And blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Now, one thing Job affirmed God as good and the only source of all blessings. In spiritual warfare that Job faced, wealth, character, and godliness does not prevent it from happening. God knew Job, knew what he was going to do. Wasn't as much about Job as it was about the spiritual warfare taking place in the heavens as we speak. I truly believe that God was sending a lesson to the angelic beings there about the wisdom of the Lord. Because in Ephesians 3:10, it says, to the intent that now unto the principalities and powers in heavenly places might be known by the church the manifold wisdom of God. I think this is where he was showing the eternal wisdom of God to his angelic beings, to his angels. Knowing how wise he is. Knowing that he knows everything. And that Satan is nothing compared to him. Now, does anybody have any comments, questions, opinions? Okay.
Sons of God, is that the angel?
The same word, Hebrew word for the sons of God here is the same one that's used in Genesis chapter 6 when it talks about the sons of God coming down with the daughters of man. It's the same exact Hebrew word. So, a lot of people think that in Genesis they're talking about the line of Seth being the sons of God. I have a different opinion. I think they were angelic beings. Because it's the same exact word as here. And line of Seth is not here in Job. So that would be my opinion of it. Anything else? Corey? Porky? I know you always got something. Well, come on. Like that's new for you. You don't? Mm. Yeah, I've heard of that, yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
So you're saying that God created Satan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, what I should have said is not he was an angel, but he was created by God. Correct? Okay, okay. All right, cool. I got something to research. I get excited about things like that. Anybody else?